Hey, family and friends. This is Amber, and I am coming on this video to share my perspective of the energy that is dominantly at play right now and my personal experience of that, and some tips of navigating what is to come. And the overall theme that is here right now, what's being exposed, is the false father, the false masculine. I've been in my work of remembering myself and remembering the goddess, the mother, the feminine. It's the same with the masculine, where it's the father, the masculine, all of these archetypes and energies that this expression of creation has come to be in, really creating oneness and wholeness within that. And so with the false father, this has been at play for thousands and thousands of years. And it's really coming to the surface again to be completely exposed and witnessed again. And this is our opportunity individually to create a collective change in history, to bring the father into right relationship with the mother, masculine to the feminine, and those two with the child, bringing these two together in an androgynous form that source is. And this is going to take effort and work, and really going within to the heart and not letting the illusion of the false father keep us from our knowing our true core, in keeping us grounded in our body and knowing 1,000% without a doubt who we are, and that we are completely autonomous and sovereign, and we have the choice, the free will, the consent to what we experience. And with the collective, all the energies happening right now, it's just even so more important to be focused and steadfast in this knowing and anchoring that into the body. And with that, like the false father, I see the main results of that is taking our innocence away through implementing fear. Everything with coronavirus and the lockdowns, the separation, the lack of gatherings, the gatherings with masks on, all of it. It's the ultimate divide and conquer. And when we're wearing a mask around someone, we think that there's this program behind it, that there's something inherently wrong with us and we need to hide. And there's a lot that goes into it, but this is like the multi-dimensional energetic perspective that I'm speaking from in this. And because I've had enough of it, honestly. I've had enough, and I'm here to fully share. And going back to this false father, the taking away, or the illusion of lack of innocence, is through utilizing intimidation, fear tactics, false authority. And we're seeing this from a high level, like in the government. We're seeing this even, more on a galactic, NAA, false, like distorted, alien, negative agenda timeline. And it's trickling down to the government, to smaller fractions of the government, to business owners, and down and down and down. And it's even come to a point where we're now, some people are, creating authority over others and creating even more separation through, where's your mask? Where isn't your mask? Like people creating this hierarchy, this tier between each other. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. We are all here to govern ourselves and to be fully autonomous and sovereign within our own beings. And that comes from the heart, from living right here. And this place is where there's no fear. Just living from that space, knowing that we are already free and no one else can truly govern us. And so for me, in working with the father archetype, which has been like 2.5 years of like really looking at it, this has been a relationship my entire life. I'm almost 30, but in the last 2.5 years is like really when I've been actively working on my relationship within myself, of my own masculine and how I relate to my father and masculine energy within myself. Also directly my relationship with my father and other masculine figures in my life. And more recently, it's come directly to just the father archetype in general, just like seeing him as this archetype, both within and outside myself. And it's been such a journey, where recently I uncovered, or it was really came to the surface just through the experiences that I was encountering that was extremely challenging before my highest evolution, my greatest unfoldment, was how much I hated the father archetype. It wasn't even my dad. My dad and I are good. And like, I see him for who he is, and that he was doing the very best he could his entire life. And so this was purely just the father archetype. There was so much hatred, like deep in my body. And realized with this, the father archetype really has a lot to do with grounding, feeling safe and secure, the root chakra, and like just in general having this structure for us in our lives. And at first it was kind of a surprise to me, because when I think of like grounding, the root, the earth, the mother, I think of it as a feminine energy. But this again is another example of how we're going back to androgynous energy. Everything is both coming together, creating the one, and being unified within and without that way. And so what I see in this false father is truly the opposite of that. It's taking the structure and having it being something outside of us, and feeling like we have to search externally and see this external thing to govern us, when truly, like, we are the structure to allow life force to flow through us. And lately, how I've been thinking about that too is just like, and not just thinking of it as like the root chakra, the pelvic floor. It's literally our whole body. It's our bones, it's our veins that create the structure for us to move and flow and be in this life, on this physical level. And so if that's just like a really tangible way to think about it and feel into it, especially in these times where there is all of this base fear coming up. This is a really great way to think about it and to feel the support and the structure within our own beings to choose our own sovereignty to govern ourselves. And another thing that I've uncovered in working with the Tree of Life and the one-dimensional aspect of my being, the serpent has come up as a part of my being. And this has to do with an early childhood memory I had where I was bit by my dad's boa constrictor in my third eye when I was 7. And when that happened, my dad wasn't around. He was in the house, but he wasn't like available to nurture me and protect me and find the snake and put it back in its cage. That's interesting. But it was really this moment where like I felt really abandoned, and that's kind of a whole other story and journey within this whole complex. And in journeying within my heart, I was able to remember that part of myself and come back to my internal feeling of safety and security and nurturement within myself. And want to bring up the serpent in the Bible as well, and the Adam and Eve Garden of Eden story, where the serpent comes, in my opinion, as a distorted version of the true serpent energy, which in this story unfolds as the God punishing Adam and Eve. And when I was reading this story, I was just like this isn't true to me. This is not true source. This is not source energy, and how it's he, she, they respond or just like love their children. Source is pure free will, absolute love. There is no if this then that. It's absolute love, always. And so I see this as this story as another aspect of the false father playing out, where there's false authority, there's punishment, there's rules my way. And I think it's just time for just all to be done with it. To just choose ourselves. Choose self-autonomy, self-governing that is true eternal creation.